Okay, here we are. So, good morning. Today, let me successfully back out of this parking spot. A little bit tight over here. Okay, today we're going to talk about focus, consistency, and the importance of self-reflection. So, I'm going to jump around a little bit, and I'll have to give context in future videos. But as you know by now, if you've been watching the last few videos, this one situation happened with this chick that was consuming my focus, was a distraction from my purpose. And at the same time, a few weeks back, one of my roommates and I got into a bit of a squabble, let's say. And so I've been mostly relegated voluntarily to my room. I just find the most peace and solace there, only for another few weeks before the lease is up and things change. But nonetheless, one thing that I've noticed doing that, being in my room, right, and is just like, okay, well, now I have to get shit done. There's no excuse not to work on things. And one of the biggest factors for success in any endeavor is focus, right? And something I have not been great at in the past is I've been guilty of taking on too many things and spreading myself way too thin. And it was mostly out of hubris to think that I somehow could do what everybody else could. You know, I always read about people talking about burnout and, you know, focus on one course until success, shiny object syndrome, all these things. Somehow I thought I could do it all. Now, you can do anything, but you can't do everything at once. And so I've had to learn to slow down. And instead of taking these, if we look at it like a giant tree, instead of taking these massive swings with the hope of knocking the tree down, taking rather consistent small swings over time with not hope but faith that if I continue to chop away, that this tree will fall. And that the same thing applies to any area of life. I've noticed that with fitness, how if you want to stay, it's one thing getting in shape, another thing staying in shape. And it's often relative, right? Like I've noticed that as I've gotten older, people around me in my same age group have declined in their physical fitness. And that's just because at one point, you know, whether you're in college and high school, it's more of a priority to be fit, to attract a partner, to feel good, you have more time. And then as things change, you lose that focus and you stop tending to the habits that got you successful with fitness in the first place. So focus, consistency, and when I say focus, I really mean like the more hardcore, the better. I have not completely sacrificed social media. That's still something that is a distraction for me, but I see that completely removing it from my life would quite literally, I'm sure, take my productivity way higher. And so the idea of focus, the idea of consistency, and let's shift now into self-reflection. And so one thing I've also been guilty of in the past is overthinking things. And so whether that's creating stories around situations or events, I have all of our minds are like story making machines. And mine is particularly active, sometimes overactive. And I do my best through meditation, breath work, exercise, journaling to keep it at bay. And it's one of the biggest reasons I do those things. And what I noticed though is that yesterday I was talking to a member at the gym, a friend of mine, a little older, he's in his 40s, and you know, just discussing some things that were on my mind with him because I like the way he thinks about things. We have a very similar perspective on things. And we're just, one thing he always says is I love building with you, brother. I love building with you. And I really paused and thought about that afterwards, and I'm like, building. Having these conversations with other people, diving deeper into issues, challenges, struggles, and trying to help each other out is what community is all about. Right? Like, nobody's got this whole life thing figured out. There's people who have gotten really good at fitness, there are people who've gotten really good at finance, but to say that you've gotten really good at life, if someone says that, I'm like, I'm really intrigued. What does that mean? And so what we do is we have these conversations, and one thing he told me afterwards, he came up to me later in the morning. He said, I really appreciate you sharing all this with me. It really means a lot to me. And he just kept re-emphasizing that it really means a lot to me that you would share this with me. And I think that's really critical, not that I'm sharing with a person, but that I'm sharing with this person. And so what I found is that if you want to get better at things, you should be very mindful at who you surround yourself with. And it's about taking the time to go within, go in your room, go out, be by yourself, and think about things, but then find people that you can trust, which is challenging at first, to share your ideas with and break them down. If your friends are just reinforcing what you already believe, it's not going to do you any good. And they might not be the best of friends if they're always boosting you, not boosting you up, but always reaffirming your ideas. There should be some pushback, there should be some challenge in order to find the truth, or at least your truth of what the situation might mean to you. And so I've been guilty of just kind of sharing everything with everybody because I'm a very open person. But I realize now that is a bit of a disadvantage. You don't want too many people knowing too much about you, because not everybody has your best interest in mind, and not everybody gives a fuck. Most people don't care at all about your problems and situations because they have problems of their own. We're all very self-centered in a sense, self-interested, trying to figure out what's best for us. So I would say the best thing you can do, be focused, be consistent with your efforts, and look at things on a longer time horizon, right? And there's I was talking to my buddy Seb, shout out to Seb, yesterday, about like the one night stand girl versus the long-term wifey material girl. And the wifey material girl will make you wait longer before being intimate, will really want to build a connection first. And that mirrors, and this is something I'll talk about in a future video, what it is it's delayed gratification. And the best things I've noticed, whether it's an incredible physique, achieving financial goals, whatever it is, most of the time the best things come from long-term effort, application, focus, building that daily habit, delayed gratification. If you're getting it right away, I would really question the longevity of it. One thing I wrote in my journal was, if it's going too good, too fast, it may not last. And that's something that, for me, feels true in this moment. And perhaps that'll change, but at the moment, feels applicable to a lot of situations I've gotten myself into. If I'm really, and I've had to shift my thinking around this, because before it was like, how can I do XYZ as fast as possible? How can I get 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible? Well, let's say you do get the 1,000 subscribers fast. Doesn't mean they're going to be around for the long haul. There's a reason why they're coming fast as opposed to building slow. So anyway, hopefully you resonated. Drop a random weird emoji in the comments if something stuck out to you, and let me know what that is. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.